Ethan's hands trembled as he opened the drawer. He wasn't looking for anything important, just an old document. But hidden under a stack of papers, he found a small yellowed envelope. The handwriting on it made his breath catch in his throat. It was Anna's, his wife, the woman he loved more than life itself. On the front, her elegant script read, "For Ethan. If something ever happens to me." His heart hammered against his ribs. "Anna, why didn't you ever show me this?" He whispered into the silent room, and this letter, this single letter, would change his entire life forever. Years earlier, before this letter was found, Ethan and Anna were living a simple, peaceful life. 7 years of marriage had woven their hearts together in a love that was quiet, deep, and comforting. They weren't rich, they weren't famous, but they were home to each other. Every time Ethan walked through the door, Anna's smile was the first thing to greet him. She would cook his favorite meals, wait for him at the dinner table, and fill their small home with a warmth that came purely from her presence. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something inside her began to break. For months she'd been feeling weak. It started with a sudden cough she'd dismiss, a heavy breath she'd try to hide, a strange wave of dizziness she'd steady herself against. She concealed her growing discomfort behind soft smiles, always turning away just as Ethan might notice something was wrong. She kept her medicine hidden in a small box at the back of her wardrobe, far from his eyes. Every night, she'd look at her reflection in a mirror and tell herself, just a little longer. Let him smile a little more. Ethan loved her with all his heart, but his work had completely swallowed him. His office was a constant battlefield of deadlines, projects, and immense pressure. He started coming home later and later each night, his shoulders heavy with exhaustion, his eyes tired and distant. On those nights, Anna would sit alone at the dinner table, the food growing cold, her eyes fixed on the front door, just hoping that maybe this time he would come home early. When he finally walked in drained and defeated, he would always say the same thing. "I'm sorry, Anna, work was just crazy today." And Anna, hiding the silent scream in her heart, would simply smile and reply, "It's okay." But it wasn't okay. Her body was growing weaker. Her breaths were becoming shorter. Yet, her love for him remained as strong as ever. She would kiss him goodnight, even when she was too tired to stand properly. She left little notes for him to find in the morning. She smiled even when her chest burned with a deep, searing pain. Ethan didn't notice, not because he didn't love her, but because he believed she would always be there. He took her strength for granted, seeing it as an endless well he could always draw from. Then came one quiet night. Ethan, too stressed from work to sleep, had moved to the guest room. Alone in their bedroom, Anna collapsed silently onto the floor. She managed to reach for the wall, trying to call his name, but her voice was gone. It was just a whisper lost to the air. But Ethan heard the soft thud. He bolted upright and ran to her. "Anna! Anna, stay with me!" His voice cracked with a terror he'd never known. He carried her to the hospital, his hands shaking, his heart breaking into a million pieces. At the hospital, the doctor looked at him with a gentle but firm gaze. "She needed treatment much earlier," he said. "The signs were there. We could have done more." The world seemed to crush down on Ethan. He rushed to Anna's side. "Why? Why didn't you tell me?" he pleaded, his voice choked with grief and confusion. Anna opened her eyes, her gaze weak but full of love. She whispered, "Because you were already carrying so much. I didn't want to be another weight on your shoulders." Those words cut deeper than any blade. They weren't an accusation. They were an expression of her selfless, all-consuming love. Anna survived that night, but she never fully recovered. During her long days of recovery, she wrote a letter. A letter filled with all the words she had never spoken, all the silent nights she had waited. But she never gave it to him. Maybe she thought she would eventually get better. Maybe she wanted to wait for the right moment. Or maybe she just couldn't bear to see him cry, but fate had other plans. Now, years later, Ethan sat alone in their quiet home, holding that letter. With trembling hands, he unfolded the paper. Anna's beautiful handwriting filled the page. "My Ethan," it began. "If you're reading this, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for all the nights I waited for you. But I'm even more sorry that I never told you why I was fading. I didn't hide my pain because I didn't trust you. I hid it because I loved you too much. You always carried the weight of the world on your shoulders, and I couldn't bring myself to add one more burden. I wanted you to chase your dreams without worrying about losing me." A tear fell onto the page, smudging the ink. He read on. "But I forgot something so important. Dreams mean nothing without the person you come home to. Ethan, if fate ever separates us, please promise me one thing. Don't blame yourself. Hold on to every laugh, every argument, every silly moment we shared. And please, learn to come home early. Someone you love may be waiting at the door, just for a glimpse of you." The letter ended with a tiny hand-drawn heart. Ethan pressed the paper to his chest, and the tears he had held back for so long finally flowed, endless and heavy. "Anna, I'm so sorry," he sobbed. "I should have been there. I should have seen you." From that day forward, Ethan was a changed man. He left work on time. He spent his evenings not with spreadsheets, but with the people he loved. He learned to listen not just with his ears, but with his heart. He learned to slow down, to be present, and to love more deeply than he ever thought possible. Every week, he visited Anna's favorite place, a small, quiet garden with blooming white flowers. He would sit on their old bench, holding her letter close to his heart, feeling her presence in the gentle breeze. "Thank you, Anna," he'd whisper to the wind, "for loving me even when I didn't see it. I miss you." Every single day. And sometimes, when the wind moved softly through the trees, Ethan felt a faint warmth on his shoulder, as if Anna were still sitting right there next to him. Life taught him the hardest lesson of all, a lesson he would carry with him forever. Never take for granted the people who wait for you. Don't assume they'll always be there. Love them today, fiercely and completely, because tomorrow is never promised. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider subscribing for more content that makes you think and feel. We'll see you in the next one.